From the heartland of America to every nation on earth, this is Jack Van Impe Presents The Truth in News and Commentary. Here now are Doctors Jack and Rexella Van Impe.
Hello and welcome to Jack Van Impe Presents. Oh my, what headlines we have to share with you from around the world today. The first one comes out of Iran, of course. Ahmadinejad underscores the establishment of a new world order. Whoa. And then a lawmaker in the House of Representatives called 78 to 81 Democrats communists. And Reverend Franklin Graham says, President Obama gives Islam a free pass. We will examine all of that, as I always say, and much, much more. But before we get into that, we were just talking about something that happened to us, and I'm still laughing about it. I woke up in the middle of the night last night laughing about that, Jack. It was funny.
Yeah, isn't that funny for me? We do have some Muslim friends, and I'm being honest about this. You know, the Sufis are the religion of peace within Islam. They don't have Islamic terrorists in that group. And some of them are my friends. And then I have friends from Jordan and, of course, from Bangladesh. A lot of the waiters and waitresses in this area are from Bangladesh, and they're very gentle people. Well, lo and behold, we went out for breakfast yesterday. We had been to that restaurant for about 3 months, and the Muslim brother's name is Hucky. And I said, "Morning, Huck." He says, "Oh," he said, "I haven't seen you for such a long time. My heart is heavy," he said. "And oh, Rexella, I missed you." And he said, "You too, Jim." I said, "My name is Jack Hucky."
Yeah.
I'm changing that G over there to Jim Rexella, or else I'll make it Rexella Van Impe Presents. But it was funny, really.
It was. We love meeting some of these people from around the world. They come up to our table oftentimes and say, "We watch you in another country," or "We watch you in another state," and it's always a blessing to meet these people. And I got a kick out of that one, believe me. Well, you know, friends, you did see the headlines that I'm going to show you right now before the last election. And I think that we'll know some of the meaning to this, and actually better than we did the last time. Again, because of the meaning that it has now. Kissinger, all right, Obama primed to create New World Order. Now you remember that headline, don't you? Again, Henry Kissinger, the world must forge a new order or retreat to chaos. Remember that one. Here's another one. Ahmadinejad underscores the establishment of New World Order. Now, you know, Jack, I think it would be good if you were to sort of clarify here some of this New World Order statement. There's so many people talking about a New World Order. And, of course, Jack has enlightened us an awful lot in the last few months about it.
Well, Henry Kissinger has always been one of the great statesmen for the United States of America. And when he says he believes that Obama will become the creator of the New World Order, I sit up and listen. And of course, that is Revelation 13:1, when this world dictator comes to power and has control over all kindreds, tongues, people, and nations, verse 7, and all the world worships him, verse 8. As though he's the Messiah, as though he's the Christ. And we'll see something about that very soon, because many feel that way. And then, of course, there's a false prophet who rises with him in that 13th chapter, beginning with verse 11. And this one has the two horns of a lamb, but speaks as a dragon. And this means he comes out of Christianity, because Jesus is the Lamb of God who takes away the sins of the world, John 1:29. And the dragon in Revelation 20, verse 2, literally controls this individual for his reign on earth. I have a lot to say about that in a moment. But here are some examples of folks who actually started to worship Obama at that first election.
All right, let's take a look at some very powerful men and what they had to say. Here you see Louis Farrakhan. Now, Jack, would you mind telling us what he had to say about Obama?
He is the leader of the American Muslims, and he said, our Messiah has arrived. He's talking as a Muslim. And when our Messiah speaks, our young people listen.
All right, let's go on here to the next one, Spike Lee. So many people know him.
He said, now we have to have a BC and an AD for Obama. Of course, BC meant before Christ, and AD meant Anno Domini. And that means after Christ. He says, we're going to have to do this now for Obama as well. Boy, that's a statement.
Oh, my, and again? Whoa, Jesse Jackson Jr. He really was quite vocal about Obama also, Jack.
He said, we will now have to add an additional chapter in the Bible.
Well, with everything that we've already heard now about what people were anticipating before the first election, I want to ask Jack, to my mind, it doesn't seem so impossible that a very influential man could be both ways. I mean, show his influence in politics and show his influence around the world one way or the other. Jack, do you think we are leading toward a one-world government and a one-world religion? Is that possible to have that?
On the way Jesus predicted in Matthew 24, verses 5, 11, and 24, when he spoke about false Christ and false prophets. Now, the thing is, Obama, if he doesn't win the election here again, is going to be accepted by many nations of the world. In fact, many Muslim nations have already said we would like him to make the peace in the Middle East for us and even control some of our nations. And right now, this president communicates with 4 of the leaders of the European Union in a telephone conference once per month and guides them as to what they should do. So there's a real possibility that he could be this world dictator of Revelation 13:1. You may ask why. Revelation 17:10 says there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, 1 is, and 1 is yet to come. Now, the 5 that were fallen begins with Assyria in Genesis 2:14, and then Egypt in Genesis 12:10. But now let's go over to this image that was produced in a dream as Nebuchadnezzar was asleep. And when he awakened, he said, I had this dream, and I can't remember what it was. Please get someone to help me. And his own magicians couldn't do it. And he said, if you can't, I'll put you to sleep, put you to death. So 3 Hebrews said, we have one with us called Daniel, and he spends hours in prayers to his God, Yahweh, and he possibly can help you. Now, in the dream, Daniel starts with the 3rd empire. We've already had Assyria and Egypt, and he says, hey, you are that head of gold in this image you dreamed about last night. What? That's right. And that's you, the head of gold, Babylon, Daniel 1:1. But it said you're going to be overtaken by the chest and arms of this beast, and that represents the Medes and the Persians, Daniel 5:28. And they'll be overtaken by the stomach and thighs of brass, which is Greece. And that, of course, is Daniel 8:21. And they will be overtaken by Rome. And that is the 2 legs of iron, and that is Daniel 9:26 and Romans 1:7. He says, you're a genius, you're a genius. No. Daniel 2:28, God has revealed to you his secrets, Nebuchadnezzar, of what shall be in the end days, just before Messiah comes. Really? Yes. Now, the Bible plainly teaches that at the time when this world empire comes into existence, there are 10 toes on this image. And Daniel had the same dream, only about beasts with 10 horns. And you find that in Daniel chapter 7, verses 7, 8, 20, 24, Revelation 12:3, Revelation 13:1, and Revelation 17:3, 7, 12, and 16. Wow. 10. Do you know that the great Jewish Rabbi Haggai centuries ago said, at the end, just before Messiah comes, there will rise a Gentile monarchy, and lo and behold, it will be divided into a 10-division world empire. And again, the Club of Rome that helped develop the one world government said, oh, this is exciting. We are now working on the project. We have all 10 divisions of the entire world ready to put into place. I'll tell you, Jesus is coming. Now, here's one other reason we believe that he's coming soon, and we're the generation. In Daniel 2:44, he says, in the days of these kings, the 10, and they've already come together, shall the God of heaven set up his kingdom, which shall never, never be destroyed. It shall stand forever. And that's when Christ comes as the King of Kings and Lord of Lords, Revelation 19:16, to rule and reign for 1,000 years, Revelation 20, verse 4. And then after he's recommissioned, 1 Corinthians 15:24-28, reigns forever and ever, Revelation 11, verse 15. We are living in tremendous times. And this is the story we're trying to get across. We are that generation. And we believe that our president will fit into this somehow. And here's why. Oh, this is something. Both Islamic people and the European Union have said that they would like to have him rule over them. The Islamic nations have already requested it, and the European Union has the telephone conferences with him. And this is really something the Holy Spirit showed me about 5 in the morning a couple of months ago, and I thought, this has never been taught before. I've never read it. The 2 legs represent not just the Roman Empire like I've taught for so long, but one is the Roman Empire and the other is a coming Muslim empire, because Constantinople is in Turkey, which is now a Muslim nation. And I'm the first one. Guess what? The other day in my history books, I was overwhelmed. Martin Luther, who started the Lutheran denomination, and John Calvin, who started the Reformed denomination and Presbyterianism, both taught the 2 legs, and one was Islam and the other was Rome. We're right on.
Right.
And the world religion is forming right now. We're the generation.
Oh, Jack. You know, I've heard Jack talk about this before, and you have too. But I was sitting here thinking, how can anybody deny the inspiration of the Bible? It's way back in the Old Testament. All of these world powers the Bible gave before they ever existed. And now this one, this last one, prior to the coming of the Lord, to me it just boggles my mind how wonderful the Bible really, really is. Well, we're going to go on here. When Senator Barack Obama ran for office the first time, he was called a name. I want you to notice this name that sort of gave credence to being almost divine. Okay, can a Messiah win twice? Now that's E.J. Dionne Jr. And he says Barack Obama was unlike any candidate the country had seen before, the Washington Post. And waiting for a political Messiah? Well, they say, forget it. Barack Obama, a Messiah? A 2010 Harris poll found that 14% of Americans and 24% Republicans actually said Obama could be the Antichrist. Now, Jack, I'm going to come to you right now, because a lot of people feel that Antichrist means something other than it really is. What does Antichrist really mean?
Well, a primary meaning is one who takes the place of Christ, one who's a substitute for him, one who arrives as a Christ, and that's the way these men we started with in the beginning said he's our Messiah. But of course, it could also mean that he's very much opposed to Christianity, and we'll see some of that as we go along.
We'll go on here. You know, the cartoonist always enters in on the thoughts of the people, and here you see one. All right, take a look at the bumper sticker. Instead of what would Jesus do, they crossed out Jesus. What would Obama do? Going on for another cartoon. President is speaking. I'm sorry for the United States and its horrible, shameful history, but it's okay now. I am here. And then someone in the audience. You sure this is the American president? I think he prefers dear leader. And then the End Time magazine. The Antichrist will be a socialist. Now you see all those faces down there, Adolf Hitler, Joseph Stalin, Mikhail Gorbachev, Karl Marx, Myo Tse-tung, they were all communists, socialist communists.